Hey everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the new moon in Libra. And in fact, this is going to be titled the Solar Eclipse Edition. This is the solar eclipse in Libra, and it is coming in with a profound and impactful punch in my eyes. There's a lot to unpack over here, a lot of activity in the chart, but some great rewards, I think, if we are moving along with this pattern and where it's taking us. So a few things to kind of just share and to set the tone for it. This new moon in Libra is about change, and the change is going to be materialized and sort of it's preparing. Well, it is about change, and the full moon that happens on the 17th or 18th of October, 17th of October, that full moon is going to have the question, are you ready to step into a new empowered version of yourself? Now, I hate to say it like that because it sounds so sort of blah, blah, blah. But what it really is about is that if you are ready to move into and make changes within your life, this is the energy that is backing it. This is the energy that you want sort of on your back, helping you move forward so that it feels effortless. The full moon that's happening on the 17th is about the actual like experience of making that decision. Here, we're making those decisions. The full moon is about what happens after that decision. Okay, so this is very much about change. The key word here in this solar eclipse is about initiation of change. And the question actually to each of you, including myself, is, are you ready to embrace that? Are you ready to step into an entirely new territory and begin to see and experience yourself and be shaped by a new territory? That is what we're emerging into, whether we like it or not, to be honest. Okay, so let's take a look at this actual moon itself, this the chart of this new moon. And quickly, we're going to just take a look over here. That's where the new moon is happening. It's in Libra at 10 degrees. And you can see that it's part of what is called the North and South Node, hence the reason why it's an eclipse. Just a quick note on the eclipses. Lunar eclipse and solar eclipse energy stays with us. The theme stays with us for 5.5 to 6 months. Okay. So it's kind of like present in your life and in the background, and it sort of filters through your perception. It filters through and it starts to subtly kind of change the way that you think about things and your perception of reality. So this theme that we are exploring here will continue to keep informing your reality, and you will notice that you will start to make choices and decisions that are very much in alignment with what themes are present. So the full moon said, hey, if you are ready for change, there's a bunch of stuff that you need to move on from. This new moon says, here's the energy and the excitement that you need to make that actual leap of faith and go into something completely new. Okay, so the lunar eclipse was, as you move into these new spaces and you make these new choices and you explore new opportunities and you explore new dimensions of life, you also need to kind of understand what could be holding you back, acknowledge those things that could be holding you back, and try to work on them and improve them or change them and grieve them in many ways. That's a very important key word with this this new moon. Okay, why do I say that? Because I have to. There's so much to talk about in this chart over here, and I don't know if I can actually do it because it's so easy to just go off into subtle little tangents and explain things and then kind of come back to the core theme. So the core theme, the central idea here is this is initiation of change. Okay. If I had to break this chart down, I'll show you how this works. When you have planets in Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra, they're classified as cardinal signs, and they are the energy of initiation of change. Okay, this is like stepping into something new. So it gets initiated with Aries. That initiation pulls you out of something that you have felt secure within and into new emotional landscape, Cancer. And that new experience both sets you free from the relationship that you previously were in, right? Whether it be to your work, whether it be in an actual relationship, whatever familiar attachments and patterns that you've made through that emotional security are going to be simultaneously let go of, right? So you no longer identify with working 9 to 5 as an example by making a decision to work at home for 3 hours, etc. And then at the same time, you also then come into an entirely new set of relationship patterns. Yeah. So if you make the decision to say, I'm not going to work at work from say 9 to 5, I'm going to work 3 hours at home or 3 hours at the coffee shop, whatever, you make that choice, it impacts the pattern of relationship that you had before that because you're no longer not going there. So you don't identify with that. But it also simultaneously brings you an entirely new environment, an entirely new set of emotional patterns and relationship dynamics. Okay. So that's the Libra. So you don't have, super clear. That then at the same time creates a sense of direction that is different to the one that you've had. So it starts off with Aries, creates a sort of cascading or domino effect, changes the emotional pattern. That emotional pattern changes the relationship dynamic, then also says to you that you're also changing direction. And this all happens simultaneously when you make the choice. And you can see here, Capricorn, Pluto, North Node, and Chiron all in Aries. Yeah. Mars in Cancer, and then enough said, everything in Libra. Okay. So that is where the baseline of this chart exists. And it's not something that you kind of conjure out of thin air. It's like it's literally in front of you. You can see it. So we're dealing with a pattern of energy that is deeply entrenched in cardinal energy, and it is very much entrenched in the movement of something into a new direction. New acquaintances, new patterns of energy coming into your life, new experiences emerging. And the question that I have to you, and obviously to myself, that this chart proposes is, are you willing to explore that? Are you willing to explore that? Are you willing to explore new possibilities, new directions, new patterns, new stories, new experiences? And if the answer is yes, then you make those choices and you go and explore them. Whenever you're dealing with the Aries landscape, whenever planets are in Aries, or you've got planets like the Chiron here and the North Node here, you're dealing with the curiosity to say something new is afoot, something new is present, new experiences are available, and I'm ready to take charge, take action, and move in that direction. But there isn't any landscape in front of you that feels familiar. So we can tend to, as human beings, especially with the limbic system, we can feel this like, oh, this new territory, what happens if we're not good enough? Yeah. Or how do I deal with this? Or how do I do this? And the sort of wisdom that comes out of the Aries consciousness is you don't. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It means that you can invoke the curiosity to learn. So you can seek out people who have more experience than you in that field and ask questions. You can research. You can firstly dive in and allow yourself to experience and explore something new. So you have to have a very kind of open and curious mind when it comes to actioning Aries choices and making Aries choices, which is very much what the North Node and Chiron is about. It's inviting you to make new choices. Okay. So what is emerging within your life? What new opportunities or new circumstances or new situations are available to you? And you can say to yourself, I'm going to go and explore that. I don't know what it is. I know that it comes with a little bit of anxiety because I'm moving into something that feels unfamiliar. And still continue to go, still continue to adventure that. And you allow yourself to grow. Because at some point within your life, right, you have started something new. And that progressively became familiar. So this is no different, right? So be open to and ready and have a receptive mind towards trying new things out, exploring new opportunities, doing something that you feel that you've always wanted to do. Step into that space and allow yourself to explore that. Okay, so that's the Aries energy that's present there. Now, Mars, the planet Mars, is deeply associated with Aries. And so we have a repeating theme here. Mars is the planet that's literally saying to the North Node and to Chiron, here's how you do this. Okay, so if we track Mars, then we understand how to navigate this Aries territory. So what is Mars doing? Firstly, it's trining Venus and it's trining Saturn. That trine means, hey, both Venus and Saturn are talking directly to Mars, and Mars is like, I'm all ears, I'm listening, I gotcha. It's like a beautiful 5-bar cellular connection, right? You just like, it's crisp. So, firstly, we have Saturn and Venus speaking directly to Mars, but Mars is kind of like not really necessarily seeing the moon and the sun and Mercury and eventually Chiron. It's not really seeing eye to eye with those planets, right? So, part of the energy of Mars comes with fluidity and some lot of help, but it also comes with some challenges that you need to overcome and face, which now adds to the second layer of how to embrace the change that is present with these archetypes. Okay. So the Cancer landscape, the Cancerian landscape, is where, as I said, where we make choices and we move into new directions and it feels unfamiliar. So there's always going to be an element of making a choice that's outside your comfort zone that is going to feel, as I said, wow, can I do this? Can I believe in myself? Can I take this thing? Where is it going to go? So that kind of natural anxiety of the future becomes present, and then we sort of stay in that. So what I'm sort of putting across here is that this Cancer landscape is not necessarily going to feel like you're going to be brave enough to do this. And yet that's the very thing that I'm asking you to consider and to reflect on as you embrace new experiences that come within your life. Okay? So it's both simultaneously allowing yourself to emotionally commit to a new set of patterns, knowing that it's going to take some time for it to feel familiar, while at the same time recognizing that the lack of depth that you might feel, the uncertainty and the security that comes along with stepping into something new, right? Recognizing that, but not giving it the power, just understanding it as, yeah, that's true. So I can seek out people that might be better in that field. I can research, I can start to learn, I can, as I said, right? There's always a way of framing challenges that help you grow. There's lots of resources that you can utilize to continue to keep strengthening a movement towards something that feels good. Because the internet has so many people watching this, right? And in terms of difference, this is not, I can't do a one size fits all. So what you need to do, and when you're listening to me over here, is kind of understand where you are on this kind of spectrum, right? Some people are going to be like, wow, I'm buying a new house. That's a big deal. Some people are going to, you know what? I've just decided to cut out certain sugars within my life because I have realized that it's deeply impacting me. Like, the choices are completely unique to yourself. You just have to notice what that is and then understand your relationship to what is emerging within your life. And that's where this becomes available. Okay. So you know your landscape, you know your internal reality, and you know what circumstances and new situations and new patterns are emerging. Go for them, explore them, try them out, allow them to be to have continuity. Continuity is key when it comes to the Cancer archetype. Now, Mars and Venus in this aspect over here between Mars, so Mars sitting at 15 degrees, Venus sitting there at 11, this is what we call a first quarter trine. And what happens with a first quarter trine between Mars and Venus is that the pattern of energy is like, I'm ready to give new fire and new meaning to something. So most of you are going to feel the sense that there's something new that you want to connect to. There's a possibility, there's a potential, there's something that I'm ready to want to transform. So take that. Notice where there are opportunities within your life and explore them. Let that harmonious trine between Mars and Venus give you that instinctual sense of following something. It feels like it's almost like a destiny, like this is meant to be, or like I want to go in this direction. It feels good. Okay. The trine to Saturn retrograde is that it's that on one, the fear can hold you back, but on another hand, you could also break out of that fear and allow yourself to grow into something even stronger and more deeply in alignment with what feels real to you. Okay? So the binary with Saturn, as in the polarity of the two realities, is Saturn can say, oh, kiddo, this is not a good idea. This could be dangerous. What happens if you fail? Right? What happens if you don't have all these things? Like very legitimate Saturnian concerns. Saturn wants to protect you from where you might harm yourself. So Saturn's amazing like that in the sense that it sort of says to you, this is what you're capable of. Now you can choose to say, yeah, that's it. I'm never destined for this. I can't do this. I can't follow this perspective because, what happens if I fail? All these types of negative, not negative, but ways of not really championing yourself and believing in yourself. Saturn also asks at the same time, if you put in a little bit of work and a little bit of continuity towards committing to something and growing with the challenges that are presented, you'll actually be surprised at how strong you are. That's the message. So you have that choice. If you're ready to step into something completely new, then allow yourself the permission, give yourself the permission to believe in yourself and let Saturn say to you, hey, kiddo, I'm going to give you a bunch of challenges, but you can also respond to them with, how can I grow from this dynamic? Okay. And then the Venus archetype, as I said, is giving you that sense of, I'm ready to commit to this. I'm ready to want to emotionally bond with and attach to this experience that feels legitimately real and nourishing to me. Okay, that's how you move forward with that energy. So this is a very big part of this patterning. This is a very big part of this energy over here. That is good to pay attention to. Okay. Quick thing before I move on to talking about the pattern of Libra and the pattern of Pluto in this chart. You guys have known that I've been talking about what me and Jen are keeping sort of in the background. We've been doing this project and we've provided some information already, which was the Learn Your Chart immersion. So that's what we've been working on in the background, and we've been very excited. We've taken a lot of information from a lot of people, what they've been sharing. I've also looked at the transits that are ahead right now, and what we've put together is something pretty amazing. It's called the Learn Your Chart Immersion. And we're going to be going through a journey together. And it's not something that I've actually created ever before, but it is something that I am very, very excited about. So if you want to learn more about that process, if you want to learn more about what it is that we're talking about, we're actually going to be releasing that towards the end of this month. So by the end of this month, we're going to be releasing the Learn Your Chart Immersion. So if you are interested in learning more about it, if you want to get a better understanding of it, we are providing information through the waitlist. Okay, so all you need to do is just put your name down in the like there's a link in the description. Just put your name, click on the link, put your name and your email there, and that's where we're going to then share information to you. Okay, so that's the waitlist, and this is for the Learn Your Chart Immersion. So very, very excited about that because, as I said, this is something that I haven't actually done before in this format. And I think it's really going to help a lot of people learn about their individual charts in a way that's different from how we've been learning in the past. Like, because that's how we've been learning it. We've been learning it sort of like studying things online, listening to these YouTube videos. But I've seen where you can make improvements and actually accelerate your ability to learn your charts in a more immersive way. And that's the concept behind this. So Learn Your Chart Immersion, the waitlist, put your name down over there if this is something that appeals to you and you want to learn more about, okay? All right. So a big part of this astrology chart, okay, with Mars in Cancer also is that being emotionally invested in an experience allows you to actually bond with it in a way that's different from just sort of, oh, that would be interesting. So this Mars in Cancer, as it makes an opposition to Pluto, is going to ask you to really like ask yourself the question, am I ready to commit to this? And you should say yes. Okay. Because when you say yes, this whole entire solar eclipse is going to start like reverberating through your consciousness over the next 5.5 and 6 months, because you're going to experience a consistent empowerment towards a direction that you want, that you feel more freer in. And that's a really, really big deal. Okay. So all the planets in Libra over here do two things. One, they've already crossed the South Node of Libra. And for most of us, we've been knowing that we've been working on the South Node of Libra stuff. And the South Node of Libra stuff is what attachments no longer feel like. And when I talk about attachments, I mean the relationships that you formed and what you give time and attention to, right? What is it that you really have become aware of that the attachment is an imbalance or things are not correct for you or an imbalance, right? Where things have not been balanced or correct for you, where you've noticed that you've been either giving too much or giving too little, either you've been sort of forgetting about your own dreams and being overly dependent on giving your attention to things you don't want to do, or the other way around. This South Node to Libra has been sort of deeply asking these questions. Hey, is this really the direction? Is this really balanced? This solar eclipse now on top of that South Node is like making it super loud. So that's why this energy is about change, because as we've sort of become more progressively aware of this theme of where things are balanced, where the pattern of energy and the negotiation and the agreements have become distorted, that energy is so loud, it's now going, well, the only way to do this is to change it, right? So that's what that energy is about in my eyes. It's a progressive sort of loudspeaker that's saying, okay, now there's the time. Now is the time. Are you ready to break it apart? Are you ready to say no to things? Are you ready to say yes to things? It's both. You can say no to some things and yes to other things. And there again is that binary. And finally, the Pluto in Capricorn, the last time it's going to be there, this energy that has been consistently moving in our lives the last like 15 years is coming to an end. And this is the retrograde moment. And then, as I said, it will move out of Capricorn. So we've got up until November. In order for Pluto in Aquarius to fully sort of run free, you have to have completed the final lesson with the Capricorn energy. And the Capricorn energy, the final lesson over here, is, I mean, you can have like a 3-hour conversation on Pluto through Capricorn. At its most fundamental level, we have become aware of how, at a cultural and societal level, the structures no longer work anymore. Simply put, every institution, every governmental structure, every law, etc., was bound and put together by a set of belief systems that get old and become senescent. And as Pluto transits through Capricorn, it just showed us where these patterns are in a sort of metaphorical graveyard, right? They're no longer alive. They're no longer valuable. They don't feed humanity in a way that is sustainable and that is meaningful and real. Pluto at 29 degrees retrograde is saying, hey, this is the last time I'm going to reveal to you where patterns of emotional imbalance, emotional repression, emotional disturbance exist. And if you can see those parts and you can allow yourself to progressively accept that these things have affected you, but have also no longer benefiting you going forward, and that you no longer identify with these patterns of suppression, of emotional displacement, of emotional, you just name it. There's just so many patterns. But Pluto ultimately is like, here's the graveyard, here's where everything has died. This is no longer fruitful and meaningful for you. It's time to move on. So at a societal level, you can see that, where we're living in a time where we can see that our societies can no longer exist in the way that they've existed in the past. There's too much change that's taken place. We know too much now. So on an individual level, this is what has died within you. And Pluto retrograde is just pointing it out and saying, this is the thing that is no longer what you want to carry forward with you. So this chart and this full moon, this new moon in Libra is about the initiation of change relative to things that have become outdated, that have been exposed as being no longer alive within you. And as you understand that, which is what you grieved in the lunar eclipse in Pisces, you then create the space to invite new patterns of energy to come within your life, which is what this solar eclipse is about. That's it. Now, that's a lot. I know I said a lot over there, but in summary, that's really what it is. There's a necessity for change. Are you ready to take that? But just be mindful that the things that you're moving towards are where life exists, rather than the things that are holding you back and down. And only you can know what that is within yourself. And it's individual for all of us. Okay. All right, peeps. One more thing that I want to quickly say before I close up for today. This weekend, I'm actually going to be lecturing on a title called Uranus. And specifically, what I'm going to be talking about is how Uranus transits, how we go through Uranus transits, and also how they impact us and how to deal with them. And this is actually an evolutionary astrology conference that I'm going to be partaking in. My lecture is actually on Friday. And in the description and also the community tab, right, on Raising Vibrations, I've got a post over there where you can go and sign up to either just watch my lecture or watch a bunch of people's lectures. It's like all of the EA astrologers are going to be there, which is pretty amazing. But they're all going to be there, all lecturing with fantastic titles. And if you put in my name, so Simon 10, when you actually sign up for whatever lecture you want to do or the whole conference itself, you actually get a discount. Okay. So go to the tab, the community tab in Raising Vibrations. You'll see there's a post that I've created over there with all the information regarding this conference, plus the title of my actual my lecture itself, and also the discount code, which please put that in. Otherwise, you're going to sort of be paying a full price for it, which it's better to get a small discount. And as I said before, if you are wanting to learn more about the Learn Your Chart immersion and to start studying your chart in a way that is a little bit different to the way that we've been studying before, then put your name on the wait list, which I will put in the description below. Okay. Cool, guys. Have an amazing new moon. And until the next video, take care.